Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be reviewing the Paasche TG Talon 3F. But first of all I want to say a huge thank you to graphicair.co.uk who sent me the Talon 8 for review. If you check the description box down below you'll find a direct link to Graphicair's web store and you can find out even more information about the Paasche Talon. So taking a look inside the box guys, we can see we've got two little leaflets. One's going over all the parts of the airbrush and the other one is a little quick guide on lessons for the beginner in airbrushing. Inside the box we have a 6-foot braided hose. We have a Talon airbrush, of course. We also have two needles because this is the 3F set. It actually comes with 3 needle nozzle sets that are different, so we can actually airbrush at 0.25mm, 0.38mm and also 0.66mm. so this is a fantastic and versatile set that's going to be perfect for an absolute multitude of tasks. We also get a spray fan cap for very wide spray patterns up to 3 inches I believe. Now I have to say guys, the packaging leaves somewhat to be desired. Unfortunately this is a very well made airbrush, but as I say, unfortunately the packaging is just let down by the fact that the needles are supplied with the tiniest amount of foam to protect the tips, and they come in a large cavity area in the box. Now the 0.25mm needle was actually not in the foam insert in the box, and because of this it was bent. Now I've straightened it to the best of my ability guys, but there's still a slight kink on the tip of the needle, so I think in tests that I'm going to do shortly that it won't perform as well as it possibly could. Now I've contacted Paasche to actually talk about my disappointment in the packaging and see if there's any ways to improve this in the future. I'll do a follow-up video as soon as I've heard from Paasche to let you know what they say about the packaging of their products. But other than that guys, everything that comes in this set is absolutely fantastic and goes back to what I said about it being a very versatile airbrush. Okay guys, so we're going to take a look at some of the key features of the airbrush now. Okay guys, so this is a Paasche Talon, and as we can see it's engraved with Paasche Talon USA on the side, and you can also see, which I'm not sure whether it's engraved or it's actually some kind of decal on the side, I can't actually tell, but it's of an eagle and it's a really nice touch. One of the key features to this airbrush is that it's got a really large airbrush cup. Now for people that want to do large background spraying, whether it's on canvas or their preferred medium, you're going to be able to get a lot of paint in the airbrush cup and be able to spray for quite a long time, which is fantastic because it comes with that wide fan spray pattern nozzle, which will be perfect for spraying large amounts of paint at a particular time. Another feature on this airbrush is it's got the cutaway handle, so we can actually use our fingers to actually change the tension of the trigger without taking off the handle at the back, which I find is a nice feature to have. It also has a paint limiting system at the back, which is going to limit the travel on the airbrush trigger, which will stop a particular amount of paint from flowing out of the airbrush, so we can get the exact same line weights every single time. So that's a nice feature to have on the airbrush. Also, if I can just zoom in, it's got a very wide open nozzle cap. Now this is brilliant for wide spray patterns, as you're not going to gunk up the needle cap easily. Also it has cutouts, and that's going to aid airflow when you're getting in really close to your object source. So that's another really nice feature of this airbrush. Okay guys, we're going to come back in a moment and we'll take it apart and we'll put it back together. Okay guys, so I'm just going to take the handle off the back of the airbrush. I'm going to loosen the chucking nut. I'm going to depress on the trigger to make sure the needle's free. I'm just going to pull the needle out from the back like so and delicately place it down. I'm also going to unscrew the spring assembly and rocker system. Take that out like so. You can take out the trigger like so. Unscrew the needle cap. And the nozzle. And now I'm going to need a tool that's sent with the airbrush to take off the fluid nozzle. So I'm just going to do that now and get the tool out. Unscrew it like so. And then we can put the airbrush back together again. Okay, so placing the airbrush back together. I really like the large thread system on the fluid nozzle head, and you're able to get into the head of the airbrush really easily. I just thought I'd add that, guys. I'm just going to tighten it up a little to make sure, there we go, that there's no air leaks. Screw that on finger tight as we can. Place the needle cap in. Place the trigger back in, and when you place the trigger back in, guys, it's important that you make sure that it's actually sitting on the button like so. We're going to place the rocker system back in like so. Then we're going to place on the chucking nut. In fact, we're going to place the needle in first. Make sure the needle's trigger's depressed. Place the needle to the front of the airbrush. Apologies for the barking, guys. And then it's my pug Jax. Something's disturbed his sleep. Okay, I'm going to put the handle back on like so. And that's our airbrush put back together. Okay guys, so now we've taken the airbrush apart and we've placed it back together. We've also gone over the contents of the box and what we get in the box. And now we're going to do some spray tests. So back in a moment. Okay guys, so I've placed some paint into the airbrush cup. For this particular test I'm using ComArt's acrylic colours, and I've hooked up the braided hose that comes with the airbrush, but it didn't fit the outlet on my Sparmax TC 620X, so I've hooked it up to my old compressor, which is a bit noisy, but it'll do for the purpose of the tests. Okay, so I'm going to do some spray tests now. We're using the 0.38mm needle nozzle set first of all. As you can see guys, using the 0.38 needle nozzle, it sprays absolutely fantastic. Really smooth trigger action on this airbrush, and because of the cutouts on the needle cap there, you're able to get super close without it affecting the airflow of the airbrush. Also, medium spray patterns with the 0.38 was absolutely fantastic as well. And what I'm going to do now guys is I'm going to swap out the needle nozzle set of the 0.38 to the 0.25, so back in a moment. I've swapped it out for the 0.25 needle nozzle set. Now the needle is ever so slightly damaged, as I mentioned at the start of the video, from the packaging that the needles were placed in the box. So I'm going to see how it performs. Now it's not doing too bad, but you can see that there's slight, if I zoom in, slight errors in the spray pattern, where I believe this is due to the kink in the needle, but I'm able to get medium spray patterns quite nicely with this airbrush, and fine lines, not too bad at all. And this is with a slightly damaged needle. It would perform even better than this if the needle wasn't damaged, but as I say, it's performing absolutely fantastic as the airbrush itself, and I really do like the 0.25 needle nozzle. Hopefully Paasche will send me out a new 0.25 needle, and maybe I'll do an updated test in the future, but even as it is so, it's still spraying absolutely beautifully out of the airbrush. So we're just going to come back now and do the last test with the 0.66 millimeter needle nozzle set. Okay, so now we've got the 0.66 in guys, and as you can see, this is pulling back the trigger ever so slightly, and we've got wide spray patterns already. And if I really pull back, you can see how wide the spray pattern gets. Okay guys, and here we can see the spray pattern of the fan, and that's very wide indeed. Now as a miniature painter, this wouldn't really serve much purpose at all, to be quite honest, this extra adapter, but for certain applications, if you're doing fine arts, then this would be a nice adapter to have to this airbrush set. In conclusion guys, the Talon is a great airbrush. The TG3F in particular, coming with 3 sets, is fantastic if you want an all-round airbrush. But I would suggest, if you are a miniature painter, then maybe just going for the standard Talon with the 0.38mm setup would be absolutely fantastic to do most jobs. The 0.25mm, however, would be great to do really fine detail work, as if you're painting some highlights on a Space Marine's face, for example. The 0.66 is brilliant for really wide spray patterns, but most miniature painters won't need that wide of a spray pattern. On closer inspection, I found that the 0.66 nozzle had a tiny hairline fracture in the tip, so this was causing slight problems with the spray pattern, which at first I wasn't aware of. So all in all, with this set, I got a slightly damaged 0.66 nozzle and a damaged airbrush needle, which in this day and age guys is just not good enough. Maybe I was just one of the very unlucky few, but I have to be completely honest in all of my reviews and tell you what I find. So to recap, great airbrush guys, looks fantastic and feels really nice in the hand. It's really nice comfortable trigger action. I really like the wide cutout airflow on the needle cap. The large paint cup is fantastic if you want to load up a lot of paint and you're going to be doing a lot of painting, especially if you're a commission painter and you're working on a lot of troops or a lot of tanks all in one go. You can load up that big cup there and you're good to go for quite a while. So let me know what you think of the Talon, guys. If you own it, let others know what you think of it. Please let others know whether you encountered any of the problems that I encountered with the Talon. And thank you very much for graphicair.co.uk who sent me out the airbrush. Please check the description box below and you'll find out more details about this airbrush and other absolutely fantastic airbrushes they sell on their website. And I'll catch you in the next video.